everybody. Welcome to Sarah's Table. I'm super excited to be here today. I'm going to be playing a solo RPG, as you may have guessed, because I am the only one here. And it is called Apawthecaria. And it means that I get to be two of my favorite things, which are an adorable animal and a witch of some kind. This game was created by Stout Stoat in the UK. I was able to pick it up on Drive-Thru RPG. It was about $15 or $20. It's a really robust system, and you use a pack of playing cards in order to do it. And it's a journaling game. Before we get into it, as always, my name's Sarah Moore. My pronouns are she, her. And I am going to be your host today and your favorite person, and remind you to stay hydrated because it is hot. And also because those of you who are recovering from COVID, like myself, it's really extra important that you have fluids in your system. So I'm just going to take a second. It'll be great. As always, I'm going to do our safety discussion. I think it's really important. Even though I'm the only one here today, it's just as important that you as a viewer know what to expect here on Sarah's Table. So you will never find sexual violence, violence against children, or withholding food as punishment or starvation. This game in particular can get into some kind of like traumatic things. You are playing a Poultice Pounder, so you're essentially like some sort of doctor or, wise woman. And so there is a chance that you are going to run into people who are very hurt, and that some of those themes may come up while you are playing. I personally am not going to get into anything that is too graphic or that is too traumatic description-wise, but there definitely you'll be encountering, sick animals, and there is nothing here that claims that death is out of the question. So just want you all to be aware of that as we dive in. But I do feel like today I'm probably going to be doing a little bit more of the setup situation. I'm going to be creating my Poultice Pounder, and I'm going to be figuring out where she fits in the world that we are building. And yeah, let's get started. So I have a way to track my character information, and everything is going to be by blind draw through a deck of cards. One of the disclaimers that they make a point of saying in this game is that nothing that you encounter here should take the place of a medical professional. Some of the herbs and things that they bring up are not okay to use on people. So in no way whatsoever is this game supposed to take the place of you getting proper care, even though it is drawing from like historical and ways that they used to use plants medicinally. So everybody just please be smart about it. Please and thank you. Okay, who are you? This is a big question. Smaller beasts live amongst the bigger, helping each other to survive and thrive. Together, they fend off the behemoths who cast long shadows across the wooded landscape. Draw from the deck to choose the following descriptor and example animals that fit under them. Okay, here we go. I got, well, that's exciting. I got a king. Again, I am using my Oz cards. I just love them. They're so pretty. Okay, my descriptor for my animal is majestic, which is just kind of exciting. The example that they give is a capercaillie. I don't even know what that is. I'm gonna look it up. Oh my goodness. The example is capercaillie or pine marten. Capercaillie is like a big turkey-like grouse with a big giant fantail. Just exciting. Majestic. I do love the idea of being majestic. But I think I'm gonna go with pine marten because they're just kind of cute. Cute little, like, rodent-y animal, commonly known as the sweet marten, which is adorable. Yeah. Try my pine marten. Some of the other choices are aquatic, burrowing, playful, clawed, sun-loving, star dancing. I have some things that are, your evening folk. And let's see how I travel. In Apawthecaria, your beast's two most relevant characteristics are speed and carry. So speed affects how far you can travel when you're moving, and carry determines how many items that you can hold measured in weight. So let's see. So for my speed, I got a spade, which means I am fast and heady, which means my speed is 4 and my carry is 3. I can dart through the underbrush, flitting through trees, heedless of danger. I love that. Although heedless of danger does not sound great. I think that if I were an actual animal, that I would probably be a little bit more aware of that. All right. Our next section is how did you start out? A dangerous world makes most beasts practical. Our origins don't often start with idle dreams, but calls to action. Who or what first helped you onto your path as a poultice pounder? All right. This is determined by your suit. I got a heart. So I was inspired by a passing poulticer and the impression they left. And this is one of the sections that specifically calls out you should journal about your origin. And the art in this book is so wonderful. It reminds me of a little bit like Beatrix Potter, and it reminds me a little bit of the old Frog and Toad books. Just like really cozy and sweet images of animals like wearing aprons or little tiny glasses and like sharing foods and medicine. Just love it. Excuse me. So inspired by passing poulticer. I think that when my pine marten was a child, that maybe they had like a sibling that had gotten hurt in the forest one day. And it was just sort of like beyond what her parents could do. And a fox came through who was known to be a wise woman, and she she had a bag full of herbs and plants from like farther aflung in the forest. It's something that is not normal to what's directly around you. And this fox helped her siblings so that they didn't lose one of their limbs, was able to stem the infection and pack it full of herbs and wrap it in a way that she hadn't seen before. And I think that it was like very inspiring. And when that fox left, she said to herself, like, this is what I want to do. I want to be able to help people. And she saw how hurt that her sibling was, and she saw that there wasn't anything that she personally could do, and she felt kind of helpless at the time. But to have somebody come through and show that there are ways to help and to fix things. And I think that's like, it was a really kind of like a core memory for her. So as soon as she got to be old enough to kind of move around on her own and start venturing out, that she started experimenting with the plants from the forest and seeking out all of this knowledge. And anytime a Poultice Pounder came through, she would be that sort of annoying little voice that would just stay with them as much as possible while they were there, make their rounds in their village, and like, how are you fixing these things and what can I learn from you? I think she just sort of like attached herself to that knowledge and just didn't ever want to stop. And I think now that she is, considered to be grown, that it's time for her to head out and do the same thing. She's probably ridiculously excited. Okay. Poultice Pounders, like all professionals, carry the tools of their trade. They have a bag that they store it in. And you use them to prepare different remedies and forage for reagents. And you all start with a belt knife, a wooden mortar and pestle, a battered camp kettle, and then because you are an animal, it also counts that you have jaws and you have claws. Both the jaws and the claws, obviously, they don't count towards your weight limit. But interestingly, there is something in this game where you have to use your saliva and your stomach acid to help you create some of the reagents that you are using. So you're going to have to chew some stuff up and maybe digest it depending on what your stomach is doing. Could be kind of crazy. But jaws and claws. You also get a trinket. So you live in a place called the Bristly Woods, and there isn't money here. You don't have currency, right? You don't exchange coins, but you do a lot of bartering. So sometimes you barter with favors, sometimes you barter with stories. But one of the things that universally is a thing that you can barter with is sentimental objects, and those are considered to be trinkets, capital T. Big important thing. And you can use those trinkets to upgrade your tools, or like you can take a trinket that you got for helping someone and barter for more reagents, or like finish a story arc or something. And because they're so important, they don't affect your carry and they don't have any weight. You just have them. And you start your first journey with a single trinket. And this is another journal prompt, is journal about what it means to you. And I think I want to tie in that fox that came through as my trinket bestower. I think that very first moment when she had her eyes opened to having this new world of being able to help and being able to directly impact things and being able to change things. I think that the fox gave her I think it was an acorn. And I think that she's in a part of the forest that doesn't have oak trees. And so this just to her felt like the most foreign, exotic, exciting seed that she could have ever gotten. And the fox gave it to her and basically said, this is a metaphor for what you could become. Like everything, there's so much that is wrapped up in this little seed, all this potential, but it's dormant. It's just waiting. And it won't turn into what it could possibly be without the right conditions being met around it. And I think that that she just took that to heart, knowing that if she could just create the correct conditions around her, that she could be so strong and so big and so impactful. And so she has this little acorn that she carries in a pouch. And when she feels really sort of stuck or frustrated or hopeless, that she can pull that acorn out and she can sort of like remember feeling like she could do anything. And I think that really stays with her. To kind of love. Okay. Next. You are a member of the Guild of Poultice Pounders, a loose association of beasts who create holistic cures. So I don't really have a big reputation. I am just starting out. The longer that you play this game, the higher your reputation can go. And if you can get your reputation up to 35 or above, then you are in the area where you are trusted. The animals of the forest know you. When you come through, you'll have a line of people just waiting to have you help. You start at a 5. It means you are relatively unknown. And the way that you are able to boost your score is by literally going around and helping people. So the next section is you get a familiar. Journeys can be long and lonely experiences. Many Poultice Pounders have a familiar, bringing along a friend or writing to a pen pal to keep their spirits high. So I'm going to draw to see who my familiar is. Okay. I get a 6. Vigorous. Goodness. Through the use of leveraging contraptions or perhaps brute strength, your familiar helps you move many things. I get a +2 to my carry. So they are super strong. I love that it is a brute strength situation. So that's how they help me. Well, let's find out what my relationship with them is. 3. Collaborators. You were united by a passion for seeing a project or cause through to the end. Here's where the journal calls out. Journal about what you both hope to achieve. So I think that this animal, maybe we grew up together in the same area of the forest, and I sort of recruited them when I was trying to learn all about what different plants and herbs could do for helping my fellow pine martens. And I think maybe they're a badger. And I think that we are roughly the same age. And they were just as excited about learning this stuff as I was. I sort of see them as like Russell from Up, just like super jazzed about being there and ready to be helpful as possible. And sort of to always have this like running commentary of what could be happening around you. And to the point where I think that she sometimes even like blocks them out a little bit. But it's so comforting to have this creature with her at all times. All right. We're going to start a journey. So, where are we starting? Every journey starts somewhere. Your origin could be important to you, like your home, culturally relevant place, that's a very special location, or where your previous journey ended. So journal about what this place means to you. And I think it has to be, because I think it's really my first one. This is the first time that I am going out into the world. Confident, maybe falsely confident, in my abilities, with my familiar, my trusted companion. I'm ready to go. And I am leaving my home, I think, for the very, very first time. And I think that this is something that truly just terrifies me in a way that I'm sort of not willing to let anyone know. I think the outside of my cozy little village with all of the people that I know and trust, like I've heard all these stories about places that are beautiful and I really want to see them, but it's very scary for me, I think, to leave. And so I have been kind of lying to myself, I think, about what I want to be doing and how okay with it I am. But I think this is where my badger friend is incredibly helpful because they are undaunted and so supportive, and they can't wait to go, and they're so excited. And I find myself getting kind of caught up with that at the same time. And I think my family is excited and sad that I will be leaving. I think we probably had like a big farewell dinner, the night before I left. And then in the morning, the two of us set off at first light, and we sort of just like, I very carefully didn't look back because I was worried that I would lose my nerve. So, I am on my way to a treetop city called the forest city of Odoak. With a motorcycle in the background, apparently. It is right in the center of the Bristly Woods, and it's circled by different regions and locations. And so I am heading there because I have heard that Poultice Pounders gather at this big treetop city, and they are going to be exchanging a lot of information. And I feel like this is how I'm going to be able to further my education. So the origin is home. I am heading to the forest city of Odoak. And it affects what you can forage and barter for, and what season it is when you are leaving. And they suggest for the very first one that you head out in spring. Exciting time of year. All living things emerge to greet warm sunlight and refreshing showers. Plant reagents are often easier to forage for. Encounters are safer as beasts focus on planting crops and behemoths still slumber. The most dangerous time of year is winter. And so we're going to start in the spring. I am looking for a little bit less danger for myself personally today. And I'm supposed to journal about how this time of year makes me feel. And I actually really love spring. I have never been very good at green things or making things grow. It's just like not a talent that I have personally, which is maybe why I keep gravitating towards these solo games where I get to be a witch who is very good at plants and things. You truly get to do the things that you can't do in real life in a role-playing game. But there's something about that like first couple of days of spring after you've come out of this long, cold, harsh winter, especially I live in the Midwest, and so we have very clearly all four seasons, and winter can get just brutal. And like spring, there's something really hopeful about the time of year, and like the feeling that you get those first early days of spring with the warmth on your skin from the sun that has come out, and the last bits of snow and ice melting off, and like plants just like struggling up through the soil and reaching for the sun. And I just think it's just such a wonderful, hopeful, sweet time of year. And like, I feel like, especially now with what's going on in the world with the pandemic, that every time we come out of a winter and we have this like this mild, like with that the smell of the green grass and like it's just like just really lovely. I don't know how this particular afternoon turned into like, hey, I was super sick with COVID and now I'm like feeling better. So I feel like um well, a lot of my stuff was like these themes that are coming up for me are like felt really terrible and now I feel not so terrible. And so it's a thank you for, you know, joining me in that. All right, here we go. Destination. Let's find out where we are going. I know that I'm planning on having them head to that center city, but this will tell me how far away it is and what direction. Oh gosh. I got a queen. First of all, Slocasta, and she's gorgeous. Love it. But that means that it is a major city and it is 24 plus paths away to the east. She's far away. I must live on the very edge of the city, or edge of the forest, if we're going all the way to that city in the middle, and it's 24 plus paths away. This is a huge journey. I think it makes a lot of sense as to why I was so apprehensive and nervous about it in the first place. But gosh, like, it's a really ambitious goal for just like a little tiny pine marten like myself. All right, let's see what my goal is. Elder poulticeers advise younger and more enthusiastic guildmates to set measured, achievable goals, providing their journeys with guiding purpose. Let's see what it is. Oh my goodness. Justice. Okay. A beast has been condemned to branding, the guild's highest punishment. You are tasked with conveying trial evidence. What is the case, and who does the evidence favor? Wow. Okay. So I have evidence. It's one of the things that I have started with here, and I need to take the evidence to the city in the center of the Bristly Wood. This evidence will become ruined if it is soaked. Okay. I think that there was someone in my village that stole food reserves during the winter. And that is a really terrible, like, it's maybe one of the worst offenses that you can have in the small outlying villages, is that just like, because you were being greedy and you were not sharing, that it was causing hardship on like an entire group of creatures. So our local law enforcement detained them and redistributed what they had been hoarding. And then one of the a guild member came through and they passed their judgment on. And I gathered all the evidence, and I need to transport that evidence to the center. And this pine marten, who is the issue what we were having, is a pine marten, and he is going to stay detained until I can return. And if they take this evidence and decide that it is just as bad as they think it is, then he will be branded as a thief when we get back, which is to burn it into their face, I believe, just so that everyone can see. Which could be pretty wild. Track your journey's length with a calendar. So because my reputation is unknown, I have 12 days to complete this journey. Okay. 12 days to get to the city in the center of the Bristly Wood, deliver my evidence, and come back with the judgment. So I've got to do 6 days in and 6 days out, or less, which seems like quite a lot. So I have a decent amount of speed. I can go 4 ticks on the map each time. And the map is really, really lovely. It's got different regions, and it's color coded, and it's just like really pretty. And then there are some sections that there are some that are wilds. There are sections that are settlements where you would find more folk. There are big cities. There's also something called Behemoth Barrows, which is like not where you want to go, because that is where the big terrible creatures are, essentially. So I have the ability to get where I need to go and back, but I have to move my max every single day. And so I don't know that we're going to be able to get through all of this journey in this one episode. So I'm going to help a local beast. So I went for this allows me to help out. And again, back to my deck of cards. First, we are going to draw to see what kind of a personality it is. 5, dreamy. Okay. 10 is mud dwelling. So it looks like we have like a dreamy, like a salamander. And on my journey, this is just one of the places that I stop. My badger friend and we show up here, and the salamander is hurt, but is going to offer us some comfort. This journal about their hospitality, what food, shelter, and other comforts are provided. We're in a boggy area, and they bring us into their cozy little dwelling, and it is not what we're used to, but it is tidy and inviting and warm. And they offer us the local, the kind of the plants that they can get it, as close as possible to them. And they tell us that they have, let's see. Okay. That they have an intermediate. All right. So I need to head on over. There's a section of this book which is pretty fun. It's the Almanac's ailment table. Head on down to the almanac. Boop, boop, boop. Okay. and it was an intermediate issue. So I head over to the intermediate table, and I'm going to draw a card to see what the issue is. And it's a 7. It means night shift. So it tells me that that is on page page 110. Let's head on over to page 110, shall we? This part of the book is so fun. I really, really like it. Night shift. This beast has been honing a special craft, culminating in their magnum opus. They can't work during their normal waking hours because of their roommates' conflicting sleep schedules, and so have been going without sleep. They are delirious and desperate to finish their project, which makes a lot of sense because I did say that they were kind of dreamy, which means they're kind of out of it and they're just sort of like lost in their own thoughts because they're so exhausted. You get so tired that like it's almost like being drunk, right? Like you can't focus on anything and you get really sort of spacey, and everything takes longer for them to figure out. So if we're able to help them, they're going to make a dedication on their creation to you. I think this little salamander is an artist, and I think that he is causing just wants to make the most beautiful sculpture. Very excited about it. And if we are not able to help them, they will fall asleep while working on their special project and ruin it completely. We just can't have him do that. So we need them to be able to sleep during the day. So we're going to head over to get them a sleep aid. So first, we need to research some reagents. Consult the almanac reagents, tying or exceeding the ailments that can also be found in any of these current or adjacent regions. So it's spring, so luckily there's a lot of things that are around to help us. Perfect. So some things that will help with our sleep are butterflies or lavender. And something to help with mood is fly agaric. So we need to go foraging or bartering to find necessary reagents with your timer's decrease. Okay, that seems fine. First, we forage in our current or adjacent location, and we are looking for butterflies and lavender. So we're going to draw a card comparing its value to your listed reagents. 4. Okay, and let's take a look. So our lavender needs to be a 7, and we got a 4, which means it's not enough. Can't find it. But we could barter. It moves it down a little bit. So we're gonna barter. There is another Poultice Pounder in the area, and we are going to barter for some of the lavender. We were able to find I'm going to say that we were able to find in the adjacent area some beech nuts, which is not a thing that we need currently, but is useful in other poultices. So I'm going to barter with them, and I'm going to trade so that we have the lavender. And the butterflies are here. I got a high enough one for the butterflies, and it's kind of hard to get those butterflies. So luckily for me, I have a badger who has brute strength with them so that they can get it. Okay, provided you've gathered sufficient reagents for an ailment, you can immediately create a remedy resolving it. Okay, so I'm going to combine it together. You were supposed to create a recipe for your remedy, record it in your journal, and write about what it was like treating your patient. So I think I needed butterfly wings, but I think that I'm also very aware of the fact that butterflies are living creatures. And so I think this is one of those situations where the reason why it was so difficult to find the butterflies or to get to the butterflies was that I needed to find them after they had passed from natural causes. So I needed the butterfly wings, and I needed the lavender, and I needed to use my mortar and pestle, and I needed to grind it all up together. And perhaps add this being like a mud dwelling kind of creature and an area that's very muddy, mix it all together with some mud and make like a salve. And then I was able to have him lay, have our salamander lay down, even though it was during the day, and just like covered him completely in this soothing, muddy mixture. And I think this is probably me fumbling my way through it, even though you all sort of saw me sort of fumble my way through making this thing, because it was the first one that I was doing. I think that my pine marten has never treated anybody before. I think this is the very first time. And so I do think that perhaps she got a little too enthusiastic, and like maybe they only needed truly to put it on like pressure points or their joints, but instead she just covers him completely in it. And I think he was too tired to know the difference, and was grateful. And I think he was able to go to sleep. So, So now we are going to be heading out, preparing to leave. Once you have concluded your business, set your foraging points to 0 and complete the relevant actions on this list. If you created a remedy for your patient's ailment, they reward your hard work with trinkets. So I'm going to gain 1 trinket per ailment severity level, and 1 trinket for every 2 fair, and -1 trinket for every 2 foul. Foul and fair cancel each other. Okay. You'll always receive at least 0 trinkets, so you can't get negative trinkets. Somebody's going to take anything from you. So I had a hard time finding 1, had an easy time finding 1. I believe that's 1 fair and 1 foul. I think that cancels out. I think I get, because of it, it was a intermediate, so I get 1 trinket. You can refuse payment, gaining +2 guild reputation instead. Ooh, I'm going to refuse the payment because I would like to boost my reputation with the guild to a 7 instead of a 5. It still keeps me an unknown, but it is clicking me up there. Resolving an ailment with a remedy grants +1 reputation per severity. So I get 1 more of that, so that's 8. And then some ailments have optional outcomes. If you create a remedy matching an outcomes criteria, follow its instructions. So here's one of the things that happened for me is that we helped him go to sleep, which means that they used part of their magnum opus to be in my likeness, which is very exciting. So there's like a little heroic, to me, looking pine marten among the sculpture that the salamander provided. Adorable. I didn't have any leftover timers, so I couldn't get extra reagents to take with me. I also have the opportunity to browse local markets and hire other beasts as helpers. I had some more beech nuts that I was able to get, so I can discard unwanted items, gaining trinkets equal to the total discarded weight, rounded to the nearest whole number. Okay, so this got a little... I didn't really keep track of how many beech nuts I found. So I'm going to fudge it a little bit. And I'm going to say that I was able to get one more trinket. So I have one trinket from the salamander, and I have one trinket that I traded. And they will go into the same pouch with my acorn. After completing the relevant steps, you can move on, continuing on your journey. I think that this is just like really cute, and I can absolutely see myself wanting to continue on as much as possible. I think that this is a do a stop every few days kind of a situation. I can move 4 more clicks on, which is, another 1/6 of the way to the center of the forest. And I think that this could be one of those situations where you could play this game kind of for years on your own. I can see myself coming back to it, like what is going on with my pine marten at this time, and maybe doing a time jump. This week I'm going to sit down and I'm going to do a fast one. I happened to draw a lot of things that made things very far away and made things like a long journey. But I think that it's I just think it's like really cute. I am very interested in figuring out more about what is going on with my pine marten, and where she goes, and how this relationship with her badger friend sort of develops. I think I am going to leave us tonight. I definitely think I may explore this game further in the actual journaling setting. So maybe I'll do it on Ko-Fi, or maybe I'll come back to her in a future way. But thank you so much for joining me tonight on this little journey. I super enjoyed it. So if you are interested in checking out this game, it's called Apawthecaria, like Apawthecaria, but with little paws. And it's by Stoat, which is a game company out of the UK. And I was able to find it on Drive Through RPG. It's very affordable. The illustrations are beautiful, and it's laid out in a really easy to follow way. And I think you'll really enjoy it. So let me know if you play it and if you liked it. And also let me know if there are other solo RPGs that you are interested in seeing me tackle. So again, I'm Sarah Moore. Thank you so much for joining me. You can find me on the internet, Facebook at Actress Sarah Moore, and on Instagram and Twitter and Ko-Fi and TikTok and all the other places at Pixies and Pins. You can also find me on my website at pixiesandpins.com. I would like to say thank you to Gen Con for giving me this platform to continue to spotlight indie RPGs. And I would like to thank my editor, Jeff Moore, who's also my partner, who has been taking care of me through my sickness. And it's been really super supportive, and he's going to turn this into something edited and beautiful. Thank you so much. And thank you at home for watching. I'm so glad that you joined me on this quiet sort of introspective journey, and we will be back next week with Root and some other folks at the table. And yeah, so keep making art and keep being art. I will see you next time.